Life is a journey, and there's a reason why people say that. There are many ups and downs. When I started my consulting practice, so many people looked at me because not many people wanted to do it, especially the niche that I'm in, which is infrastructure. Not many people looked like me who wanted to do what I do.
Everybody, welcome to our show today. I'm Melanie Johnson, your host for the day for the Elite Expert Insider and one of the owners of Elite Online Publishing. We have a #1 international best-selling author with us today from Entrepreneur Secrets. We have Jacquie Baly with us today. And let me tell you, this woman is a superstar. I'm just amazed at what she's done from where she came from to where she is now. And she is unstoppable. She's relentless. She's just an achiever. So if you want to be inspired today, you are in the right place. Jacquie, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Tell us how you got to where you are and some of these wonderful things that you accomplished. Not even you raised like, what's it, $3 billion to help a cancer research or a cancer bill that you did. You're a pro temp mayor. Oh my gosh. Just walk us through the story.
Sure. My parents and I migrated to the United States when I was just 7, originally from the Caribbean. Most of my relatives are still in St. Martin. And our journey was really, I'm their only child. So they wanted to make sure their only child had the American dream, and education was really at the forefront. My mother is a 40-year educator, and education has been instilled in me through her. And it's been my journey, part of my journey as well. And I will tell you, coming from the Caribbean to Houston, as wonderful as Houston is, very inviting, very warm, especially for immigrants. It was a journey, I didn't speak like this. My accent was quite thick, quite heavy, quite Caribbean. Different languages were spoken in the home. And I will tell you a little bit, back when I got here, and it was a long time ago, different languages weren't really as appreciated as it is now. Now we encourage everyone to speak their language. We want to know more. And so my mother, her way, and I really thank her for this, to get acclimated was, we're going to only speak English. We're going to just grab this American dream and make sure that we become Americans through and through. And so that was my first challenge, really, was to get rid of my accent. I actually opened up a dictionary, learned how to speak phonetically, to the point that when I go home, now everyone says I have an accent there.
The way it goes. I'm from here, are you?
You're from the States. No, actually. So I did it a little too well, right? And back to the education, one of my last pivots was to get my PhD. And I did that as an older student. I waited until my sons had graduated college. And I remember I was the first in my family to go to college. My mother, by the way, went to college after me. But then I said, I'm going to put my dream on hold to support my 2 perfect sons who are ages 28 and 25. And as soon as I literally sent my last check to Harvard for the younger one. And then as soon as that happened, I started applying to PhD programs, got accepted at USC. And so it was a full pivot because I finally achieved my dream of becoming Dr. Baly, which is something I wanted to do since my 20s. But life happens, and it was a long journey, but that's a very short introduction to me.
And I love how you kept it on your list and you didn't let it go. Some people think I was wanting to do this, but it's too late. That you are still like, no, I'm going to do this, and got through obstacles to get there. And you talk about having obstacles as an immigrant, even though you were 7, but you came over the language, and obstacles of being a woman of color and the journey along the way. What advice do you have for people who are facing obstacles? What got you through those obstacles?
Yeah, when I was, and especially professionally, I was always the first, right? I was the first Black person running a division for the Greater Houston Partnership, which is our equivalent to our largest chamber. I was the first Black woman to be city planner in the city that I was city planner of. Yeah. And so everything was first. And I really didn't look at it as being the first because that's quite an honor, believe me.
It really is.
And I didn't take it lightly, but I looked at it as this is my opportunity to do the best that I can, and that others after me will not be the first, and there won't be a focus on it's a woman or it's an immigrant or it's a person of color. It's just going to be focused on that person's skills. So I did take a huge responsibility with that honor of being the first in a lot of instances, but I also wanted to make sure that it opened the door for so many after me. And I, like on city council, I was the second Black person on the city council, but only the first elected, right? But and after me, there still aren't any Black people, but there's so many women. When I was on my council, I was the only woman. There's so many women that have been on the city council since then. So those are just examples of, yes, I may have been the first, but that door was cracked and it was open. And so many have come after that.
But from your diligence, you did that. And think about, you did crack that door open for other people said, oh, she did it. And even though you weren't thinking about, I'm the first, or I can't do it because of this, you're like, I'm just going to do it. So I really hand it to you that you're just like, oh, I'm just going to do it like I'm anybody else. And of course I can do that. You're really a proponent of education equals opportunity. And in today's landscape, there has been a little bit of a shift where you don't necessarily have to have a college education anymore. You can get educated on YouTube. You can get educated all these other ways. You can get certifications. And so I feel like there's a shift now, maybe even pushing away from college. But what do you feel about traditional education, or just how education opens up those opportunities for you?
Education is such a broad term. Like you mentioned, my father was a welder. And so that opened the door for him to come to Texas because he was recruited by Brown and Root. So many people in trade are needed right now. We're looking for welders, we're looking for pipe fitters, we're looking for electricians. And those trades are very important to our economy and moving forward. And so those people should not feel less that they're less of because they don't have a degree, because some of those people are smarter than a lot of people with degrees, by the way.
And they
Just
training and certified. When you're a pipe fitter, you have to go through all
yes.
the education and classes as well.
Yes, you have to go through certification. You have to have certain skill sets. My father taught me, actually, the welder. He taught me that do your craft to the best of your ability. It's really focus, be disciplined. He was a welder and he wanted to be the best welder, be the best teacher, be the best pipe fitter. Just focus your skill, discipline, diligence, and you will shine, regardless if you're the president or if you are the electrician. And I've always remembered, I saw how hard he worked at crafting, at his craft and his skill sets. And that's part of my drive. I always just wanted to do my best. And I think people see that when you put forth the effort and you are your best.
And I think too, when you're your best at one thing, like you master that thing, it opens doors for you for other things. I think that happened in your journey, don't you think?
Sure, I started as a city planner, but I've always had an interest in public policy. And now my consulting practice is solely public policy. And you mentioned that bill, the $3 billion biomarker bill for American Cancer Society.
Yeah.
I happen to be chairing two of their largest events. And at that time, I was speaking to their lobbyists about the biomarker bill. And I also happened to know a lot of the state members, legislators who were looking at that bill. And I connected them to the correct people to make sure that biomarker bill actually went through. And it's the largest in the country. But it's what you're saying. Once people see one skill set, because I was actually brought on to raise money for the organization, and they said, but wait a minute, she's also good at policy. Let's pull her over in this area. So I wore many different hats just sitting on my role with the American Cancer Society.
Yeah, they see brilliance and doing your best. People want that. They're like, I want that on my team. It sounds like the journey was all roses, butterflies, and rainbows, but really you had to be resilient. Give us some examples of times you had to be resilient and how you overcame that would give other people some advice.
Sure. Look, there's no way that life is a journey, and there's a reason why people say that. There are many ups and downs. When I started my consulting practice, so many people looked at me because not many people wanted to do it, especially the niche that I'm in, which is infrastructure. Not many people looked like me who wanted to do what I do. And so there was a little bit of pushback. I had to be resilient. I had to prove to them that I do have the skill sets and I can achieve certain things.
Mhm.
Whenever I decided I wanted to run for office in the city, I was told, oh, there's no way a Black woman's going to win a certain portion of the city. Or there's no way. One gentleman even told me, you need to go home and take care of your kids instead of trying to run for office. He told me that as my friend. He was just trying to help me. These are just examples that I've had throughout the years that people are saying, oh, let me tell you this just to help you. And yeah, appreciated him. I said, thank you. And I took note of that as I continued to knock on every single door and win with the highest margin at the time.
Yes, that brings to mind you have trusted people. I call it like your personal board of directors. This person's a friend of yours. How do you know to discern what advice you should take and what you shouldn't? And you're thinking, this person supposedly has my best interest in at heart. How do you divide that up? It's kind of hard. What do you say to that? How do you know?
I think you said it best. If that person has my best interest at heart, if, for instance, this gentleman ended up becoming my friend, but at the time, I don't think he wanted me to have a seat at the table. And I sensed that. My intuition is pretty good. And as a consultant, that comes better with time. And so at the time when he told me that, I don't think I would actually take anything to heart what he had to say because I knew he had an agenda of his own and it wasn't at my best interest. I have had many actually white men who have mentored me and who have had my best interest at heart. They're very genuine. They've worked with me and I can tell. And I've listened to them and they've helped me along my journey. The former mayor, he actually was my first treasurer because he said, I want you to win. I believe in you. And he actually helped me in every step of the way in many different aspects of my professional life. And so that's someone I would take to heart because he has proven time and time again over decades that he is there for me and does believe in me and believe in my skill sets.
And have that trusted. I think you are smart and on top of it, and you have such good intuition that you're really great at taking all that information and all that advice and deciding, okay, what do I really want to do? And what's the best direction for me of all that advice? You just seem very smart to be able to do that, to listen to your heart. Do you feel like your intuition leads you and your heart leads you as well as your brain?
My husband and my sons, and sometimes my father, even though I think I get it from him, they have told me that I'm too trusting sometimes. I don't think it's I'm too trusting as much as I try to see the best in people most of the time. Until you prove to me, even in my golden age, that there's something negative coming, I will believe you to a certain extent and I will see the best in you. And even if there's something that creeps in and there's something negative, I try to talk to you about it and see if that positive person or that positive aspect of you will come back. Hopefully it does. So I am an optimist to in a large extent in almost everything that I do. I think optimism is missing today. And when my sons say that I'm a little too trusting, I think I'm extremely positive. And even though sometimes things don't go the way that I thought they should go, I will be extremely positive that it will in the future. And I think that's what's missing with a lot of people.
Yeah, you're looking for the best in the person, rather
Sure.
than looking at the worst. And we all have bad moments, right? We all have those things that we're not
Yeah.
truly ourselves. We're like, can we just
Yeah.
skip that, please? Nobody saw that I did that or said that. I'll just
That's why I was
uh,
so surprised my sons were the ones that said that because I was like, wow, if my sons who lived with me all the time can say that, I was pretty impressed. I was with myself when they said that.
go. You're doing so many things. I think that you are, you talked about your family and what they've done and imprinted on you, and it really does leave a legacy. How do you connect your purpose, right? It seems like your purpose is also leaving a legacy. How do we connect with our purpose?
I think the way you are raised, a lot of your values will determine what your legacy is going to be, and education, but also public service. Public service is something that my grandfather, he was a council member in the Caribbean. My current cousin is the governor of St. Martin. I have been in council and now I do two appointed positions. So I think it's your values, your background, and that always is interwoven with what your legacy is going to be. It was something for me that just it continued to transition into who I am right now. I have a much more clear vision of that legacy now that I'm older. When I was younger and it was going in that direction, I really didn't even know it was going in that direction. But now, looking back and reflecting on your question, it's my values, my upbringing, all of that is interwoven into what the legacy is.
And think I just love that. And I love the word legacy because look at your grandparents. You've been influenced by that whole history of your family, and your children are influenced by it. It just continues to grow. And it thinks about whatever you do. I don't think about it all the time, but it does imprint on your children and your grandchildren, maybe great grandchildren, all the things that you're doing. And you've done so many fabulous things that you have this resume of things. And I love that you're writing it down. Not only did you do this chapter, but you're working on a full book yourself. And just having all that together is a legacy that you're leaving that generations ahead can go back and see who Dr. Jacquie Baly really was, and that they will know where their heritage came from. So tell us why you decided to even dive into this first chapter of Entrepreneur Secrets and then want to write your own book.
So my own book is a continuation of my chapter. And by the way, kudos to you. You did such a great job with publishing the first one and all the books that you do.
Thank you.
But you brought together 25 entrepreneurs and we're each given a chapter. I have had so many people throughout the years to ask me about different aspects of my life. How did you raise these great sons? How do you manage all of your time? How do you do this? How do you do that? So the book actually starts with some of what was written in the chapter, but it expands on it in each chapter in my own book. And that was really, you're right. It's so cathartic to actually write it down because as I'm writing it down, I'm like, wow, yeah, that really did happen. Yeah, that it's like it's bringing back a lot of things and it's making me write even more. And it's been a very healthy, wonderful process. And especially with you and your team, it's great to work with y'all. Um, so I will say that's how that happened. But also, I'm a professor at U of H. And I've been doing that for close to 20 years. Next year will mark my 20, no, my 19th year. So I'm 1 year shy of 20. But as a result, I have many students in the Houston region who've gone on to run for office. They're in office, they're running nonprofits, and they still come back to me and ask me for advice. And a lot of them were so excited about the first book, Entrepreneur Secrets, because they're now on their journey. And whenever I was told that this was going to be a message to younger entrepreneurs, immigrants, dreamers, people who are hungry for that knowledge, I just knew that I would be a good fit because I was once that person. And I interact with so many of those youngsters right now who are definitely eager to soak up all of this information.
If you had to give advice to a young entrepreneur right now, what is the main thing that you would tell them?
Be very ethical and be very focused on your goal. Whatever that goal is, there will be so many things to deter you from that goal. It may not happen in the exact time that you want, but don't forget what that ultimate goal is and keep reaching, focusing, and you'll get there.
And you may get your doctorate too, just like Thank you for coming by today, Jackie. It's just been such a pleasure. You have such wonderful energy and insightfulness and just sharing that with everybody. Where can people find you?
And thank you for having me, by the way. I've always been a fan of yours. So to get to interact with you one on one is great. I have my website, Baly Projects, BALYPROJECTS, on balyprojects.com. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Heritage. So you can find me LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, if you just put in Dr. Jacquie Baly. And I am pretty present.
Good. Yeah. And she is on top of it. She even has the book on her banner on LinkedIn. She is ready to go. Let me tell you, this is
That's right.
taking woman. And so reach out to her. We'll have those links in the show notes as well. And if you're looking to become an international best-selling author, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. And have a great week, everybody. We will see you next time. See you soon. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.